Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to be diving into the world of braces and wires and all that good stuff, basically, how to get that perfect smile. We're taking a deep dive into complete orthodontic clinical mechanics.
Ah, yes, by the renowned Dr. Antonino G. Secchi.
Exactly. Before we even jump into the nitty-gritty, the dedication alone in this book really struck me.
Oh, absolutely. To my family, he writes, for their unconditional love and support. It just reminds you that even these big-time orthodontists, they're driven by the same things we all are. Family, love.
It's the human element. Okay, so speaking of Dr. Secchi, we should probably give our listeners a little background.
Oh, for sure, for sure. We're not talking about just some dentist who decided to write a book.
Right. This is a guy who knows his stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're talking to a professor at the University of Pennsylvania, a practicing clinician.
And a member of the elite Angle Society. Orthodontic royalty right there.
That's right. And here's the thing. He didn't just write a textbook. Dr. Secchi actually developed his own entire system for orthodontic treatment, the CCO system.
See, that's what gets me excited. We're not just talking theory here. This is coming from years of hands-on experience. So he's developed the CCO system.
Yeah, right.
And within that, to make it all make sense, he breaks treatment down into 3 clear phases.
He does. It's all about efficiency and simplicity, really.
Okay, so walk us through these phases. What are they and how do they work?
So he starts with phase 1, leveling and alignment. This is basically laying the foundation, getting those teeth in line. Then you move on to phase 2, working phase, where the real magic happens. Fine-tuning the bite, correcting rotations, all that good stuff. And finally, you've got phase 3, finishing, where you add those finishing touches to make sure everything is perfect and stable for the long haul.
It's like building a house. You need that strong foundation before you can even think about putting on the roof. So Dr. Secchi has his roadmap, the CCO system. And it's within this framework that he introduces some really fascinating concepts. One that really caught my eye was his use of self-ligating brackets.
Yeah.
SLBs.
SLBs.
I mean, come on, no more rubber bands.
Right.
Sign me up.
Exactly. It's all about reducing friction, you see.
Okay, so less friction, faster treatment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because with traditional braces, you have those elastics or those little wires holding the arch wire in place.
Right.
And that creates friction, which actually slows down tooth movement.
Interesting. So these SLBs, they just kind of, I don't know, magically hold the wire.
Well, not magically, but they do it without those extra bits that cause friction. Now, there are 2 main types, active and passive.
Okay, and what's the difference?
Think of passive SLBs, like those sliding doors.
Yeah.
They hold the wire in, but there's not really any pressure on it.
Okay.
Active SLBs, on the other hand, those are more like spring-loaded doors. They have a little mechanism, a clip, that puts constant gentle pressure on the wire.
Interesting.
And that, my friend, is where the magic happens.
So because of that constant force, the teeth move faster.
More efficiently. Predictably. That's Dr. Secchi's argument anyway. He's a big fan of active SLBs, especially the In-Ovation system, so they can really speed things up.
Okay, but hold on. If these brackets work differently, wouldn't you need a different kind of, prescription for the arch wire?
You absolutely would. You can't just use the same old recipe, right?
Right.
Active SLBs need a modified prescription to get those optimal results.
Okay, so what's so special about Dr. Secchi's prescription?
He calls it the CCO-RX.
CCO.
RX,
Yeah.
And it's a big part of what makes his system unique. See, it's not just about the brackets themselves. It's about the whole system working in harmony.
Got it. So what are some of the key differences in the CCO-RX that really make a difference for the patient?
One of the biggest is rotation control. We talked about those crooked teeth in phase 1. Well, the active clip design in these brackets helps correct rotations much earlier in treatment.
Oh, wow.
Compared to traditional braces, you're looking at fewer adjustments, more comfort for the patient.
Less time in the chair. That's always a win. What else?
Torque control is another big one.
Okay, before we go any further, can we just define torque real quick?
Of course. Imagine turning a screw with your bare hand. It's tough, right? Not much control.
Right.
But with a screwdriver, you have leverage, precision.
Okay.
Torque in orthodontics is kind of like that. It's about applying just the right rotational force to make sure that teeth tilt at the right angles.
So it's not just about being straight, it's about how the teeth fit together.
Exactly. Bite. And Dr. Secchi has found that these active SLBs with that constant force, they're really great for achieving that desired torque.
Fascinating. One thing I noticed in the book, Dr. Secchi seems particularly concerned with molar control.
Ah, yes, molars. The big guys.
What is it about molars that make them so tricky?
Well, they're the workhorses.
Yeah.
responsible for most of your chewing power, so they're bigger, stronger.
More rooted.
Exactly. Harder to move.
And they're all the way in the back.
Exactly. But Dr. Secchi, he's not one to back down from a challenge. He came up with a pretty ingenious solution. Modified molar tube.
Modified molar tubes. Okay, now you have to tell me more. What's the deal with these tubes?
So, most orthodontists, they just use standard molar tubes.
Right.
But the problem is these standard tubes, they often lead to the upper molars tipping out and the lower ones tipping in. It's a common issue.
Yeah, I can see how that would be a problem.
Right. So Dr. Secchi, he sees this happening all the time. And he thinks, why not just fix the tubes themselves?
So instead of trying to overcorrect later on, he addresses it right from the start.
Exactly. I mean, it's brilliant when you think about it. Most people wouldn't even think to question the standard equipment.
It's like he's always one step ahead.
He is. So he modifies these molar tubes to have a different torque built in, and it counteracts that natural tipping tendency.
It's like he's giving the molars a little guidance counselor. Okay, so modified molar tubes, that's a game changer. What else? Didn't you mention something about, like, tiny slinkies?
Oh, yeah? The open coil springs?
Yes.
Oh, what are those all about?
So those are used for molar distalization.
Distalization.
Right.
Remind me what that is again.
Moving the molars back. Like when someone has an overbite, you might need to make some space.
Right. And these open coil springs, they provide this really gentle, continuous force. Perfect for that.
Oh, that makes sense. So it's all about that controlled movement, huh?
Exactly. But, Dr. Secchi, he always emphasizes that it's not one size fits all.
Right. You can't just use the same approach for every patient.
Exactly. Every mouth is different. Every case is unique. It takes a skilled orthodontist to know which tools to use, how to adjust the mechanics,
It's like an art form, really. And speaking of art, can we talk about all the visuals in this book?
Oh, the visuals are fantastic.
It's not just a wall of text. He's got diagrams, he's got photos, he's even got those before and after case studies.
Those before and afters are amazing. Talk about a confidence booster.
Right. You see those smiles transform, and it really hits you. This is powerful stuff. It's like Dr. Secchi said in his dedication, it all comes back to that human element. Well, I think that's about all the time we have for today.
Already.
I know, right? Time flies when you're having fun talking about braces. But seriously, we've just scratched the surface of Dr. Secchi's CCO system. There's so much more to explore in the book.
Definitely. A lot to unpack.
But for now, I'll leave you with this thought. Could this be the future of orthodontic treatment? This focus on efficiency, precision, patient comfort. It's pretty exciting stuff. Anyway, that's it for our deep dive today. As always, thanks for listening.